My new neighbor just moved in next door. She seems nice, but she's definitely a little weird. But it's not weird like having an axe collection or anything like that. For the past few weeks, I've been trying to find a new place to live. I finally found something in a decent part of town, so I was excited. I moved in, and everything seemed fine until I met my new neighbor. It's more like constantly stares into your window kind of weird. I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, "You remind me of someone I used to know." I froze as I listened intently. I heard the sound again, louder this time. Someone was definitely outside the basement window. I didn't want to be a coward, so I grabbed a broom and cautiously approached the window. Every once in a while, Mark would stop to wipe the sweat off his forehead. Then he would continue digging. About 15 minutes into this, I heard a voice behind me say, "That's enough." My wife pulled down the blinds and screamed. "What the hell is that?" she yelled.
Okay.
He said that he had never seen spiders like these in this area before. He sprayed various parts of the house and told us to leave for the day. I rushed over and saw dozens of spiders on the windowsill. The spiders were huge and hairy. It looked like something out of a horror movie. I called an exterminator. We all turned to see a man standing behind us. "Who are you?" I asked. He said that he had never seen anything like this before. Okay? He told us that we should probably leave the house for a few days. Okay? So we did. She was very nice and kept offering us food and drinks, but it was like nothing had changed. The walls were still dirty, and there was still a strange smell throughout the house. Our neighbor came over to see how we were doing. We told her about the state of the house, and she looked shocked. "What? But I had that place exterminated a year ago," she said. "I haven't seen a single bug or spider since." She then gave us a creepy smile and said, "I guess you could say that I'm a very lucky woman." Accepted her kindness since we really had nowhere else to go. "I'm Mr. Henderson," he replied, "and that's my backyard." A few days later, my wife went to hang up some decorations. As she reached for a nail, she saw something move in the corner of her eye. She looked over and saw a large spider crawling on the wall. She screamed and ran to tell me. He told us that the spiders had all died. We were very happy to hear this. We slowly approached the kitchen when we saw 2 cockroaches running across the floor. We screamed and backed away. We ran out of the house and called the exterminator. However, as soon as we walked through the door, we knew that something was wrong. He said that the house would need to be cleared out so that he could spray everything. So we did. The air in the house was thick and heavy, and there was a strange smell throughout the house. But Mark said you wanted to move the shed to his backyard. There must have been hundreds of them. They were everywhere. My wife and I started screaming and ran to the bedroom. We locked ourselves in the bedroom and called the exterminator. Mr. Henderson looked furious. "I never said that," he yelled. "That son of a gun tricked me into giving him $50. He then turned to us and said, "I'm going to ask you one more time. Get off my property right now." So we all got out of there. As I got closer, the sound stopped. I looked out the window and saw my neighbor lying on the ground directly below the window. She was staring up at me with a blank expression on her face. I immediately ran to call the police. They arrived and took her in for questioning. After that incident, I never saw her again. The washing machine is in the basement, which has one window and one door. While I was in college, I rented a house with 4 other people. One of the guys I'll call Mark befriended our neighbor. When my wife and I bought our first home, we were very excited. We finally had our own place. We could finally decorate however we wanted. We could finally fix up the place the way we wanted. We couldn't wait to get started. Well, one night we came home to find Mark in the front yard digging a hole. "What are you doing?" I asked him. He replied, "I'm helping Mr. Henderson move his shed. He wants to put it in my backyard." I laughed and said, "You can't dig a hole in my backyard. You don't even own the backyard." "It's fine," he said, waving me off. He's giving me $50 and some beer. We all thought this was pretty funny. As I started the machine, I noticed my neighbor standing by the window with the basement door open. I thought maybe she was also doing laundry, so I didn't think anything of it. "What's your name?" I told her, and she said, "Oh, that's the same as the girl I used to know. What a small world." That was weird, but I tried not to think too much of it. Hi, I'm here to tell you 3 true neighbor horror stories. The first one is titled New Neighbor. She's an older woman who lives alone. When we first met, she kept staring at me as if she hadn't spoken to another human being in years. The first time I went to use the communal washing machine, I brought my laundry downstairs. As I walked past my neighbor's apartment, I knocked on her door. "Hey," I said, "can you please move your car? It's blocking the parking spot I'm supposed to be using." She opened the door, revealing a wild look on her face. She had bloodshot eyes and her hair was a mess. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Car, she asked. "You have a car parked in the parking spot I'm supposed to be using," I replied, pointing to the parking lot. "Oh, sorry," she said. "I must have forgotten I moved it." Come in. I politely declined and went to start my laundry. About 5 minutes later, I heard what sounded like whispering coming from outside. At first, I thought it was just leaves or something, but then I realized that the sound was coming from inside the basement. I turned around and saw my neighbor kneeling by the washing machine with her head in her hands. I quickly left the basement. I didn't want to make things awkward between us. The next day, I decided I would go back down and finish my laundry. As soon as the washer started filling up with water, I heard the distinct sound of fingernails scratching against concrete. Our next story is titled, You Can't Dig Out. So we all sat on the porch swing and watched him dig a hole in the yard. Our last story is titled Creepy Crawlies. A week after moving in, we were getting ready to paint a room. The next day, the exterminator showed up and immediately found more spiders in other rooms. When we returned home, everything seemed fine. We didn't see any spiders. When I got to the wall, I saw that it was covered with spiders. Kay came over and saw that the spiders had spread throughout the entire house. We stayed at a hotel for a few nights until the exterminator came back. We started to walk around the house when we heard a noise in the kitchen. He came over and told us that we had a serious infestation. While all this was going on, our neighbor kept coming over to check on us. A few days after the exterminator finished, we were allowed to move back in. Thanks for watching.